Hello there and welcome! In this video I want to talk about Dwarf Fortress with you. This is going to be my personal review after spending 1,000 hours on this game, with 7 points that I love about this game versus 7 points that I really don't like about it. Because in all honesty, every game that I have played so much and really love has as many pet peeves as things that I love it for. You hear me ranting and also really raving about good games. It's the same. Therefore, I want to give you here a neutral, realistic and honest impression about the game after me spending 1,000 hours with it, making several guides and gameplay series and whatnot, and I hope this will help you out into making yourself a picture of one of the most amazing games in human history, I dare say. I really mean it, without any exaggerations here. Dwarf Fortress has been the inspiration for classics, real big classics like Minecraft. Seriously, the most successful game, while I'm recording this, has been inspired by this. Also, many other survival games have taken their inspirations from this. By this day, it is hard to tell which game has been inspired by Dwarf Fortress and which hasn't, but to some degree, this is one game that a lot of game developers have played in their time and have taken inspiration from. And yeah, let's get talking about this whole thing that I started. I just wanted to point out that the interesting part here is that Minecraft and RimWorld have been widely more successful than Dwarf Fortress itself. It somehow aged much worse than these titles, and I actually understand why, but I think still that this game is one of the greatest that we will ever experience, and it's getting better and better. So let's talk about the first thing that I really love this game for, and that is the by far best fantasy world generator that I know. Every world is procedurally generated in a way that it not only has a full-blown geology, like, you know, this area here, it's a foresty area, but we also have the earthy layers, mountainous layers, whatnot. So this is a world that has been designed in the surface and in the realms below. But it doesn't stop there. There's civilizations that wage war with one another. There's intertwined personalities that do things while the world is being generated. The world generator does not create worlds that have no functional world history. There is so much going on here that I must say this is really the most impressive procedural world generation that I've ever seen. It generates personalities, artifacts, civilizations, places of power, everything you could imagine. Everything happens just in the procedural generator, and that is one hell of an amazing feat. I don't know too many games that can bring that up, but on the counterpart, one thing that I really dislike about this game is it is so hard to understand even the most basic things about it. You know, this game is basically the nightmare of learning curves. Every one of your 200 people's needs and desires must be fulfilled, and that comes with many caveats. So it is really one game where I don't lie that I had to spend 200 hours of learning until I was able to steer my first fortress safely into the late game, with having the feeling of somewhat knowing what I was doing, but in all honesty, I was a dirty, filthy scrub. So the learning curve on this game is real, and it's one of the worst that I've ever experienced. I hope that my work in my guides cuts down the time way below 200 hours, but it's still a lot to dig in. You have to navigate yourself through a lot of menus. If you go with the Steam version, you have at least a visual overlay. There is still a free version that you can pick up that has the ASCII overlay, but there's still a lot of menus to navigate, a lot of things to program and whatnot. Number 2, things that I like. This thing provides so much emergent gameplay. Due to the fact that there's war with different civilizations that you can wage, war that actually influences your gameplay, like sending visitors that steal your things, or just regular old siege warfare. You have beasts that roam the lands, you have people that do share some relationships that you can go through. Every character in your fortress has their own life and their own relationship tree. You know, this is all there, it's happening. You can follow each one of these things, and they have their own thoughts, they have their own personality. You can, if you like that, bring up tons of little stories that you can follow and experience. They're all happening simultaneously while you're playing Dwarf Fortress. I don't know any other game that can bring this up. This is really, really impressive. From Sarvesh the miner, who's just going to drink some over there, over to, you know, all these other guys, Zaz the engraver, who's just doing their thing here in the guild hall. They all come with a fully working internal life. But this, one point that I dislike, number two, some mechanics in this game just overthrow all this immersive thing by just being immersion breaking and to some degree even hellishly overpowered. For example, you just raise one drawbridge and nothing in this world can ever beat this drawbridge. It's going to be fixed soon, but currently, while I'm recording this is an impenetrable penetrable fortress at this point. There's also some abilities on monsters like web spitting or fire breathing, which just burst down your entire fortress of legendary fighters because they're just oddly badly balanced. You can destroy entire armies by just doing a few mechanically broken things, and they are around since years, if not decades, some of these. And that makes it really a weird game to play. But on the other hand, point three that I like about this game, you have an insane level of detail and individualization. I've been already talking about the people that you have here in your fort. There's also lots of things that you can do with all the items that you craft. Every statue, you can determine what's supposed to be on it. You can decorate your items with gems that you have found, or with pearl, or with shells that you took, or with something from your animals. There is, once you've understood the insanely deep crafting menu here, so many things that you can do to make exactly the fortress that you want. Hate squirrels? Well, you can make statues that depict squirrels being murdered in various ways. I don't lie, you can do that. This is one of many ways that you can waste your time on this game. So this is insane. I don't know any other game that allows me to manipulate every single detail that much. On the contrary though, number three, which I dislike, the user interface is not that good, and the in-game documentation is just simply failing. I can't really say how much I am looking onto outside sources if I want to look up something. For example, there's tons of different wood types. The only thing they differ from the outside is their weight. They all have the same description box, the same uses, and the only difference is this is a different type of wood. So you have, wait a sec, here you have even different looking logs that are the same. You have plum wood. The description is the same. You can't do the same, and the metals look the same. So many items don't explain themselves in this game. You have to look it up or experiment around. There is really so much that you need to look up even after understanding how the game works. It can be truly horrifying. But number four, to bring up something that I like, again, the amount of constructional freedom that you got is mind-blowing. So every fortress that I built had a different thing going on for itself. You can just build everything. You could actually reshape Moria if you wanted to. Mordor also if you wanted to. You can build whatever you want because you have a elevation system which depicts every height layer. So for example, this castle here has a pretty high tower. There you go. You can't really see it that well because you only see one height layer at a time, but this is actually a castle on a mountaintop. Didn't think, right? But the fun is for you while you're building it. You can do whatever you want eventually. You understood the routine so well that stuff just works out and is fun to play around, and it basically is it has the same freedom of building like Minecraft, just in a 2D environment. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. On the other hand, to bring up something I dislike on number four, the pathing of the game can be outright horrible. Your dwarves, if they path too closely to water, they simply like to jump in there and drown. If they're pathing too close to lava, they like to jump in there and burn. I could It's terrible. Also, on top of that comes a really harsh set of physical laws. Water in this game is really complicated, okay? Understanding water pressure is something I really haven't made a full tutorial about because I still don't find the words to properly and easily understandable explain what's going on there. And that's me, basically a full-time guide maker. This is how complicated the physics are at some degree. I really still have to learn a lot of things after 1,000 hours. Okay, so number 5 though, on the good side, no fort feels the same. This is something I really love about Dwarf Fortress. Every place that I built a fort, I realized, that geographical detail is interesting. Oh, there is a lava tube breaching through the place where I wanted to make my city happen. Let's build around that. There's an interesting forest with a hilltop which I could build a castle upon. Every single map, due to the insane depth of the geography creation in the world generation, has character, flair, and style, which is not only happening on the surface, but also deep down below. Not only do you design your own fort, you also get the caverns, which also have their own adventures, their own layout, their own problems. Each and every run, it is just so much fun. All in all, this is really something which I haven't found in too many games. RimWorld serves quite right, Minecraft, notice something. And yeah, this is really, really amazing. But on the contrary side, number 5, the lack of real lore in this game can be sometimes really, really obnoxious. Yes, your dwarves have all their own gods that they adhere, that they have their own songs and cultural things, but at the end of the day, it all has no real substance. Nothing you do has really global consequences. No fort that I build in this world truly interacts afterwards with the rest of the world in the way that would be realistic. There's still so much to be done, and the longer you play it, the more you notice that only the reality bubble around your fortress really works in the way that you feel so astonished about, while the rest of the world is more like a standing still picture, which is sad, which is kind of annoying, because you can't also really define the lore of the world that well if only the area around your own makings here is mattering. But I see really bright things for that in the future, because, which brings me directly to number 6 of the things I like, the development of the game is steady. This game has been developed for decades now, and the community behind it is amazing. It is honestly one of the most heartwarming, constructive, funny, and I love the DF community. Seriously, all you guys out there, you are the greatest. You have been a valuable part of my life. Altogether, this game really greets you with open arms. All the work that you pour into it, you'll be greeted by all the fellow Dwarf Fortress players, which all have been there too. They all know what you've been through, and you'll be joking about it afterwards. So, all in all, this game might have its quirks, but it's getting along. It's getting better. Which brings me, though, to number 6, which I don't like. It feels like the slowest development of all time. I hate putting it into these words, but seriously, the development of Dwarf Fortress goes painstakingly slow. I mean, I am happy that the Steam version exists because it brought me one of the bestest games that I ever played in a digestible manner. I simply never was able to connect to the ASCII version. I tried several times, but bounced off of it. This was the first version that really brought me into it. But altogether, the development is still very, very slow. After everything I did, there are still so many glaring bugs that I can't abuse, and still the problem that I feel way too safe after a very short period of time. So as an experienced player, the amount of threats is really low. You are putting up your own goals, but the slow development means also that we have a lot of freedom. So, number 7, the last positive point. I haven't even started talking about adventure mode yet. This entire video was all about just fortress mode. What's adventure mode, you ask? Well, you create a character, you immerse yourself into the world, and then you just run around and do things. You can just slap your character into this world and off you go. You can also build a fortress first there and start your character in your own handcrafted fortress. It is its own sandbox RPG being also developed behind the scenes that you also have available to that. And in all honesty, I haven't played it too much because I feel like the mechanics that Dwarf Fortress has only please me in the Dwarf Fortress, in the Fortress mode. I dislike the adventure mode pretty much so far, but maybe I will change my mind in the future about that. But what I want to point out, you have seen so far in this entire video only a part of the entire game. The adventure mode is its own entire can of worms, which you have available when you buy this game as well. Or you can just download it for free. Everything can be for free. You just have to bother with ASCII graphics, but they're actually lovely. So, level number 7, the last thing that I dislike about Dwarf Fortress. There's always something to wish for, though. No matter how many things that have been implemented, there's always something that kept me wanting and wishing for betterment, and that bothered me a little bit in the last months. But I gotta say, if you want something to be done really good, it takes time, and I respect that. Although it bothers me that Dwarf Fortress still has a pretty tame environment, forgotten beasts are sometimes almost impossible to kill, and sometimes a dwarf just shouts at it and it pops it because it was just a bubble of tears. Seriously, it can happen. Yeah, it can be wildly diverse, but to put this video to a conclusion, Dwarf Fortress is one of the most amazing pieces of art that have been ever created. And if you can bother getting yourself through the many different layers of micromanagement and automation and the quirky user interface and the fact that you have to learn so many things outside of the box, or on my videos, shameless own advertisement, but I tried my best to make this game really work for everybody because it is just so good. It is so far the best fantasy survival is the wrong word, best fantasy simulator that I've ever seen, because you could also download mods to start playing humans or elves or whatever. This game is just an amazing framework for things to come, and I'm pretty sure that I will be talking about this game and everybody for years to come, because the story of Dwarf Fortress basically only has really begun with its Steam release officially. It has been working in the ground for many years before, and I'm pretty sure this thing is far from, the story of Dwarf Fortress is far from being over. So, I hope this video was helpful for you. Feel free to check out my other guides and videos if you want to have some help in getting into the game. I can only say it pays off, because I want to say I do not regret a single minute that I poured into learning this game. Not at all. I can't wait for the updates to come. I can't wait for the forts that I will still build, and I hope that this video was giving you an impression that is realistic, because, you know, Dwarf Fortress has its quirks, but it is also truly amazing. So, thanks for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a subscribe, consider supporting my work on Ko-fi if you like that, and also feel free to drop in the comments which game I should review next like this if you like that. So, thanks again to all the supporters of Icon Gaming. You truly rock and are amazing. And of course, thanks for your time for watching this video. I appreciate that. Have a good one.